emerged at the board game shop. Each of you walk in, and you all take a glance at, obviously, you see Danny there. This is a lore master question for Danny. So we know you can see him, but we never really discussed the parameters. Can the others see your inky friend?
I like the idea of him being visible, but the mechanic of me having to hide him, or him having to hide. I think that could be a lot of fun. So I would imagine that he is a visible creature, maybe only to people who know the supernatural, maybe to everyone, but... Oh, hang on.
So then that gives me a question. Can we see this thing? Or do we get to roll for that?
When did we all end up in the board shop? Are we all in the board game shop?
Yes.
When did we get there?
That was when Danny sent the message to Max to get everyone there. That was a convergence of everyone.
Okay, I missed that. I missed that part then. Okay.
Oh, good. But yeah, so Max ended up finding Jack on his way and then sent a text message to everybody else to converge at the game shop. Now, Danny, question. When we talk about hiding, are we talking about lampshade hiding and plain sight? You know what? That's what we're going with if you're okay with that.
I was going to say, whatever fits the theme of your world, I am down for whatever you got. I am happy to do however that works.
Follow-up question. How much do I know as your sibling?
I think it would be interesting to... I don't know what... I think it would be interesting to go either direction there.
I would agree. Especially if you're hiding it from everybody else.
Yeah, I think there are people in this group that I would definitely be hiding Arpeggio from. And I think that would probably be Jack as the former mentor, and I think Nathan as the expert. Yeah, I think that Max and Cam are probably the two that know of Arpeggio, but don't necessarily know as much about Arpeggio as I do.
Okay. And Cameron helps you hide Arpeggio. Should someone else get suspicious and be like, what the fuck are you talking about? There's nothing over there. Are you okay? Do you need more sleep?
When in doubt, deny.
When in doubt, deny and make them feel like they're losing their mind that they already don't have.
I'm just imagining also just like throwing a sheet over it too. Be like, no, what are you talking about? This is going to be fun.
Or it's just like he's just frozen in place. No, that's from that new video game, that new indie game that Danny was telling me about the other day. It's some ink monster. I forget, but one of those props from it. Just help them sell the game.
He's trying to be like a cardboard cutout, but it's not really working out too well. I love it. Alrighty.
It's like basically going to be a replica of the Brave Bear scene where the mom is just like stuck like this and then slowly inches away and then it's in another. And it's just like, oh no, it's an automaton. It's an automaton.
Yeah. If there was an outside audience, they would always know where it is. But we would always be dumb enough to go, wait, that's just a lamp, right? Oh, that toaster looks a little different. Like we're just never on top of it.
Oh my gosh. For most of you, you're just like, is it, you know what, we got... It's one of those things because everybody in Duskvale is used to monsters like living amongst the regular human beings, even if Arpeggio is trying to hide himself from the rest of you. It's like one of those things where the barrier of entry to the belief is, it's unexpected, but it's also to be expected kind of thing. But as Arpeggio is what he coalesces where it's just this black, it's just all black, but it looks like the lamp from Christmas Story. It's like in the shape of a leg.
Just like the shadow person that like, he's like that shadow person that everyone sees at like the edge of their vision, but as soon as they look for it, it's immediately gone. And they're like, did you just see that? See what, dude? The fuck are you talking about? Cam knows it's there. Max knows it's there, but they're like, what are you? There's nothing there. What do you? It's a board game shop. What are you talking about?
Arpeggio now looks like the lamp from Christmas Story. Somewhere in the distance, you hear somebody, you're gonna shoot your eye out, kid.
So I'm gonna
wait. I just have a quick question. Has Cameron seen Jack inside the board game shop yet? Have they actually seen each other?
You know what? I'm gonna leave that up to Jack. Jack has our mad scientist has seen you yet because you and Max got there first, I believe.
Yeah, I just walked in with Max, so I'm going to say no. I'm looking at all these board games, cursing these sort of new. What does apples to apples even mean? Looking at the names of games and trying to be like, what? This isn't, there's not even a board. This isn't a board game.
So Cam's just gonna, as we're all like, so Cam's gonna get there next, I'm assuming, because what does Cameron really do during the day if he's not bugging Danny by lunchtime? So he's gonna walk in and do his usual thing. Hey, Danny, got your usual food, and I brought you some more jerky I made. Just randomly yell like he always does.
Is it any good? Hey,
Cameron's
kid.
Cameron's
Go
gonna
ahead.
turn. I'm not a kid.
I'm sorry. Is the jerky you made, adult, any good?
My name is Cameron. If you're going to call me something, at least call me Cam. And by my standards, I think it's pretty fucking good, but I don't know. Try it for yourself. I always bring extra for Danny because he doesn't know how to fucking eat, so here's an extra portion. Have fun.
So I'm going to hold my hand out for it.
And then Cameron's just going to give him like a bagged portion because he gives Danny more than he probably needs to eat in a week. So he gives him an extra portion just because. And then Cameron's going to yell out again, Danny, where the fuck are you? Don't make me tear this place apart again to make you eat.
Wow. Such anger. And I'm going to take a bite of the jerky.
Be like, roll. It's pretty tasty.
That's good.
There's going to be a lot of anger in this store. Just a heads up.
Cameron's going to
Max
respond
is
to
ready to
there's
throw
that's a
down.
lot of anger. Cameron's going to respond to there's a lot of anger and be like, he doesn't fucking eat. A microwaved burrito is not food, and that is all I see him eat, breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Can I see Danny?
What is the microwave burrito not food? Why are you attacking my diet?
Yeah, there's several food groups
We
in a
were
single
raised
burrito.
on microwave
Right.
burritos, okay?
Cameron's really just going to be pulling out like a little mini steno notebook and just flipping through it, just lazily flipping through it. And he's just going to be, as he's flipping, just talking, be like, listen, if you want to eat microwave fucking burritos, that's your prerogative, but microwave burritos offer no substance. That is all I have ever seen this kid eat.
I'm going to
He needs
say...
other food,
it's
so
at
I
this
basically
point-
bring him food.
It's at this point Mason walks in with a thing of donuts, right?
Yeah, at this point, like the most unhealthiest. You know what? Hopefully they sponsor this podcast, but we're gonna go with my personal preference of donuts. I don't know if it's in anybody else's place, but
Krispy Kreme.
no, Krispy Kreme is. I was gonna say Wenchels.
You don't
but
have that here. I think that's just a y'all thing over there.
The West Coast is weird.
Sure are.
Are there actual donuts within the store
Send-
now? Before I say what I say?
Yeah, so Mason comes in with the donuts and just puts them onto the counter or whatever.
I'm going to reach into, if you want me to roll for this, I can. I'm going to reach into my back pocket and pull out a plastic bag. And I'm going to walk up to the donuts and then I'm going to whisper to Danny. And I'm going to say, come here.
Yeah. And he is dual fisting 2 pots of coffee and looking at the entire setup like this was a massive mistake. And shuffles over close to Jack, looking slightly ashamed.
I'm going to pull a tortilla out of the bag. And I'm going to grab a donut. And I'm going to wrap the donut in the tortilla. And I'm going to say, technically, it's a burrito now.
Wow.
Cameron's going to overhear this as he's flipping through his notebook, and he's gonna, without looking up, by the way, from this notebook, Danny, I really hope you've actually drinking some fucking water today, and you're not double fisting some fucking coffee pots right now while putting a donut into a.
Still a
There's a
burrito.
lot of judgment in this store.
Listen, some out of character context for y'all that some of y'all don't have. Cameron has agreed to help, quote, study the spook in return to help the spook learn how to properly use his powers. However, the spook doesn't like to eat properly. So, as is with all experiments, you have to make sure that the experiment, i.e. the spook in this case, stays alive. Therefore, why do you think Cameron is going very much out of his way to feed this? And in reality, it has nothing to do with him being an experiment. It's all because Cameron actually gives a shit about his well-being. He's just hiding it under the guise of he's an experiment and I'm just doing it for this.
Danny, you had any of them burritos?
I don't know what you mean, Max.
I'm gonna go back
very
to the fridge
healthy now.
and look for a fucking burrito in the freezer.
Do I want to have you roll for this, Max?
Can I roll for read a bad situation as soon as I open this fridge?
see what can happen. All right.
Just like as soon as you open the freezer, you just see there's no like ice box. There's nothing. Just like an entire, just like mini single burritos just stacked all the way through the door, like the inside, and then all the door just has multiple more, and they all look like they're homemade, but they're all wrapped in like this like tinfoil shit, and it's just in there.
Alrighty. You know what? Let's see how bad this fridge actually is. So, Max, go ahead and roll me read a bad situation. So you're going to roll with plus sharp if you have anything
That's
in it.
dope. Can I also use third eye?
Remind me what third eye does for you.
When I read a bad situation, I can open my third eye for extra information. I take +1 hold on a result of 7 or more, plus I see invisible things. If I miss, +7 or more, I still get 1 hold, but I'm exposed to supernatural danger.
Please be an invisible burrito in the freezer.
We will find out.
It's not even an invisible burrito. It's just a burrito that's been in the freezer for too long. It's now grown moldy and has now become sentient.
It's so frozen, it's invisible.
Oh, hold up. Let's see how bad it is. So, Max, go ahead. And yes, you can use your third eye.
Dope. So I get plus sharp and +1. Or no, the +1 hold is different, right? I don't add that to the roll.
Correct.
Okay, it's 11.
Gosh dang it. All right. So with regular read a bad situation, since you rolled an 11, you get to hold 3 from the following set of questions. Some of these don't really apply. We can bend them a little bit. So here are the questions from read a bad situation. What's my best way in? What's my best way out? Are there any dangers we haven't noticed? What's the biggest threat? What's most vulnerable to me? And what's the best way to protect the victim?
All right. So, what's the biggest threat in here, right? The biggest threat is important. What's the biggest threat in this fridge? And I have 4, because it's 3 plus my 1.
Yep, so technically 4. So,
questions. Is there a
right.
place I can find these so I don't have to try to remember with my tiny brain?
So if you take a look at in player handouts, I believe I put in a move reference sheet for all the basic moves there that tell you what everything does and also has a list of questions as well. Also, shameless plug, you should buy a physical copy of the book. It's great.
You're using your brain for this. We're just winging half the shit we're doing.
All right. This is a sentence that this is a question I never thought I would ask myself. What is the biggest threat in this fridge? I'll tell you what the biggest threat of this fridge is. Max, as you open up Danny's work fridge, when you open it up, it's like the stereotypical, it's like one of those fridge freezer combos where they both open with the singular door. It's like one of those tiny ones that college kids put in their dorm rooms all the time. So as you open it up, bottom is the fridge, on the top is the freezer. As you open it up, you see a couple of things. You see some like leftover Chinese food, half a slice of pizza. But as you dig your way through, the biggest threat is that there looks to be this massive like California burrito just thrown into the back of the fridge. And it is the biggest threat. The reason it's a threat is because it's so caked in at the back wall of the freezer that it is frozen over and is now attached to the back of the freezer, where it is right next to like the mechanical part that keeps the freezer really cold. And so it's just baked onto it as well. It could blow at any moment, honestly.
And now I tell you, now I say, this is why Cameron brings him food, because if not, he does shit like this.
Are there any dangers we haven't noticed?
You found the burrito problem, so that's a big danger. I wouldn't call... Let's see. What other dangers haven't you noticed quite yet?
4 questions about a freezer.
As you look into the freezer, you swear that the pizza it's gotten a little moldy. It's been a couple weeks old, and it's a little moldy in there. But you swear that you see the mold start to move a little bit.
Okay. What's most vulnerable to me in this fucking freezer?
The most vulnerable thing to you is the fact that your brother said that there was no burrito and there's a big ass burrito in the back. So the most vulnerable thing right now is probably... So if we were going to get physical with it, the most vulnerable thing is probably this burrito. But if we're like talking metaphorically speaking, your brother's dignity of not wanting to eat a burrito.
Okay. And then what's the best way to protect the victims here?
So the best way to protect everybody and we don't get a case of E. coli is to throw the pizza and throw away the burrito. That
Okay.
temptation needs to go.
So we're just gonna burn the fridge. Like I'm gonna cast fire magic and burn shit in the fridge. That's
Oh,
what we're
no.
doing. And then I'm gonna close it.
Cameron's just like basically while they're doing all this is gonna walk over to Danny and be like, "Here's the food." Just hand him like a plastic grocery bag, kind of thing, and be like, "Here's your food. Here's your lunch. You are going to eat it. You are going to put the coffee pots down, and you are going to drink some fucking water.
So,
There's also turkey in here that I know you like."
Max, since you're going to use your fire magic, I'm gonna have you use magic for me. So you're gonna roll plus weird.
Okay. Does this count as practitioner since I'm good with fire magic, or is that only for combat things?
No, because it doesn't necessarily state it's for combat. Anytime you use magic, period, since it's fire, then it works.
Dope. You like to see it? That's 15.
What did you roll?
12.
Gosh dang, bro. Oh, you're gonna be a pain in my keister this whole. Okay, so here we
wait,
go.
I just have a question about rolls. We roll 3 dice and add all 3 together.
2.
2. Okay.
Because he's the spell slinger, I figured that his plus weird would be up there, but 15.
Okay,
Holy
I wanted
crap,
to make
bro.
sure.
Alrighty, so here on a plus 10, the magic works without issues. Choose your effect. You can inflict harm. You can enchant a weapon. You do one thing that is beyond human limitations. You bar a place or portal to a specific person or a type of creature. You trap a specific person, minion, or monster. You banish a spirit or curse, or in this case, we could say the burrito is technically a curse from the person's object or place it inhabits. You summon a monster into the world. Communicate with something that you do not share a language with. Observe another place or time. Heal 1 harm from an injury or cure a disease or neutralize a poison.
Can I summon a fucking thing to eat this shit?
Okay. What thing are you going to summon into the material plane? I cannot believe we're doing this.
A demon with a straw.
No.
I'm imagining
I just
like the
have a
giants.
quick question.
Uh-huh.
You're setting the entire fridge on fire, correct?
So-
Like the entire fridge is
wait,
gonna
we've
go.
changed this. We've changed this because I didn't know what I could do with use magic. So now we're doing fun things. So technically it would be like a 13 instead. 14
Okay,
instead.
curious now. You have
So
my
it's gonna
full
be
attention.
it's just gonna be this tiny little like centipede looking thing. It's just a worm with large teeth. The teeth make up half the worm. And it's gonna just dig through the burrito and the
Is it? You're giving me the description of the snake from Beetlejuice.
Yeah, pretty much.
But you said it's tiny.
Yeah, it's about yay big.
Oh, God.
And it's just gonna eat the pizza, the burrito, and everything else in the fridge.
I'm
And then I'm
imagining.
gonna shut the fucking fridge.
Okay, so for everyone who this version of Teen Titans was gross, remember Starfire's little like pet Silky? That's
Yeah.
literally what I'm imagining. Silky is just you summon
That works.
Silky, you put it in the fridge, and then you close the fridge, and you just hear literally eating everything. And as soon as you open it back up, it just has a toothpick in its mouth, and it just burps, and then it just waves at you, Max, and then it just poofs back into its dimension.
I'm actually gonna close the door and leave it there, and then I'm just gonna look at Danny with a raised eyebrow.
The rock eyebrow be like,
Cameron's gonna. Sorry, go ahead.
Danny has put the coffee down so everyone has access to it, has pulled out his water bottle, and takes a bite of the recently gifted burrito, thanks to Jack, and goes, my fucking brother's so much cooler than I am.
Cameron's gonna lean and whisper to him, "I still like you better than your brother, if that counts for anything."
That's fucked up.
It does.
That's
Thank
fucked
you.
up.
He's just gonna reach over while holding his he's got the little steno pad like this. He's gonna reach over and just give Danny a little head pat and flip to the last page of the notes he took. Okay, so on to actual business, which we know doesn't take more than a fucking minute of our time. Any changes?
Oh yeah, what's this about the ghost?
He's gonna run through the whole power thing. Any changes? Anything I need to know that is of concern to note for the experiment, so you can just keep a note going of that.
Everyone, this is Talia, and Talia unfortunately recently died.
Can we see Talia?
oh, definitely.
Okay. Did we not?
Cameron's gonna shut the notebook and look at Danny and be like, "Okay, so would you like to explain what the fuck you did this time?"
So did we We just looked at. We didn't even acknowledge Talia when we all came into this board game store.
Here's the thing, because when everybody walked in, the primary focus on were there hidden burritos in this fridge. So technically, that's what happened. And I'm just imagining Talia's like off in the corner. She's just watching all this go down, and she's just, yeah, okay. In her head, she's thinking, I asked these people to help me out. I don't know if this is going to be a good idea, but you know what? This is going to be good.
This is who you fucking called.
So this is kind of meta, but I'm going to ask it anyway. How much of the burrito demon scorpion eater did we see? We saw all of that just happen right in front of us?
Where's the fridge? It's a better question.
I feel like it's behind the... Actually, Danny wouldn't know this. Danny, where would the fridge be in your little store?
I think this particular fridge is right behind the counter. I think this is where it's like when you're going to sell the avid gamer geek their Gatorade or bottled water or whatever. This is
You mean the
store
stuff that
fridge.
Dan...
Yeah. Like, it's part store fridge and then part fridge, and this was the personal fridge part of the adventure.
All right.
I gave you a fucking fridge cleaning worm. Enjoy.
Okay. So we saw it, but maybe we didn't realize how far that went. Okay, go ahead.
I was going to say, and now you also have a ghost that's just chill and be like, hey.
I'm going to say hi to Talia while I'm wrapping a donut up in a tortilla.
Cameron's going to look at Danny with a pointed look like, Danny, I would like an answer to my question, or I will be using your full name. What the fuck did you do?
I didn't do anything. Have I met Talia before, she died? Or no?
So here's the thing, and this is just a kind of common knowledge for everyone. So no, you did not. You wouldn't have had any interaction with Talia while she was alive, though you are familiar of who she is because of her last name, because as it was mentioned in the last session, Talia is the daughter of the local preacher man, Father Forcinsa, at the local congregation down the street, or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, this is the preacher's daughter, and she dead. She dead.
Yeah. So Danny's going to say, look, I never had the pleasure to meet Talia before she passed. However, she is Father Forcinsa's daughter, which seems important. And this seems like something we should probably all work together to solve. But she came to me and we spoke with her, and I saw from her perspective what happened in her last moments. Also, Luther was there at the diner when she stumbled back into societies. And then I'm going to give them the rundown of what I saw from Talia's point of view of being in the woods and the chasing and then stumbling into the diner and then the hospital and then nothing.
Yeah, so as Danny is recalling all this information to you all, so the important bits is from the beginning, Talia was being chased in the woods. She thought she was safe. She was oh so wrong, because then something grabbed her and snatched her away. Next thing she remembered was encountering Luther at the diner where she passed out. Then she got to the hospital where her dad was in the room, and then everything just went black. So it's like working with damaged film reels where you have bits and pieces of the storyboard, but the connecting events are either missing and or damaged. But you do have a good sense based on Danny's description of the timeline of Talia's last couple hours on this planet before she died. Of course, Talia is just sitting there, just nodding and just floating there, listening to Danny recount everything. And then she finally speaks up. Yeah, I wish that I could remember more coherently, but that's all I really remember.
So you don't remember anything about what was pulling you through the woods, what grabbed you?
And
any
Talia,
markings, anything that you could give us, like colors, something.
Could you show us exactly where?
if you like, I could do it. And she just scratches her head a little bit. I can do it. And she closes her eyes a little bit and thinks, I think I can guide you there, though I don't. Wait a minute. And she thinks about it. Wait, I think I can help you out with that one. And she kind of looks around. Yeah, I think I can help you out with that one. Or at least the general area. And she's
Would it be
like,
too traumatic for you to go there? Do I need to pull a map out so you can show us on the map where you think you could be?
and she just looks it down a little bit. Yeah, I think I can give you a description and draw the map. I'm still coming to terms with my own death, so to speak.
You can pick up a pen?
You can pick up a pen. As she like phases through trying to pick up a donut, she's like, ghost, no physical form.
Cameron's
just wanted to
gonna
make sure.
Cameron's gonna walk over with the notebook and just basically tell her or ask her. It's fucking
Words.
Sorry, I'm having a tic tac right now.
Oh, sorry.
Gonna ask her to basically describe what it is that she fucking saw,
Okay,
and he's gonna just basically jot it down in the little journal.
cool. So you're taking notes, and as Talia is giving you descriptions as well, you're drawing sketches in it as well. Now, granted, since all of you are denizens of Duskvale, you are very familiar with the geography of the town, as well as part of the forests that kind of surround this small, sleepy little town. And upon finishing, you do now have a map of a general location of where Talia described her moments in the forest as well. And as you finish jotting it down, Talia also just thinks a little bit, now that I think about it, and her eyes go wide. Oh, you know what? And she looks at all of you. Do you also mind talking to two other people for me? Now that I've realized that I'm dead, there's two people that probably got hit the hardest with all this. Do you mind also speaking to my dad? And can you also speak to my girlfriend as well?
So Cameron's more focused on just looking at the map because he's not exactly a people person, not his area of expertise. He's just reading it and suffering his own general tic attack. Just random curse words just making their way out of his, just like random curse words, making no sense whatsoever.
Is there something you'd like us to say?
Morse and Talia is just like, I'm just looking to see how they're feeling. Obviously, it's only been a couple of hours, but because technically it really has been a couple of hours since she's died, if we're being completely honest here.
Fucking bitch.
It's, what's it called?
What?
It's one of those things where so out of RP moment real quick. So it's one of those things when somebody does die, and from what I know about the lore of ghosts is like within the first initial couple of hours, it's more so that lots of things are going through their head. Is like they're dead, but it's, oh snap, what about my loved ones? Like life flashed before my eyes type of thing, all that good stuff. And so Talia's just, I'm just curious to see how they're doing. I didn't leave them on the best of terms, so I want to help them. I just want to see how they're doing. And that's all. And she shies away a little bit and starts looking down at the floor a little bit. You know what? You know what? I'll just give it to you all. You all get the sense that there's something more to her wanting to have you check in with her father and her girlfriend, but she's not verbalizing exactly why. And she's dancing around the heart of it, so to speak.
I'm going to take a bite out of my donut burrito, and I'm going to walk up to Talia, mouthful of food because I'm a horrible person, and I'm going to say, I know your dad, and you're from here. I don't care where you were. Why were you in those woods, girl?
Cameron's
Okay.
going to
Good point.
immediately snap his head up and be like, you're going to chew with your mouth closed. Finish your food before you talk because that's fucking disgusting.
All right, Jack, let's see. I'm trying to figure out which one would work. You know what?
He's not concerned with the where or the when, just the why.
Alrighty, so I'm going to break the rules a little bit. I'm going to bend this move because technically you're trying to get somebody to tell you something they don't want to. So I'm going to have you roll manipulate someone.
Okay.
So I need you to roll plus charm.
Damn it. Oh, wait. Well, my charm's not terrible. It's fine. Oh, no. I hope that's right. Hang on. Let me double check charm. Because that doesn't make sense. My charm shouldn't be plus anything. My charm was crap. It's funnier if my charm is crap. So hang on. Let me make sure. No, I said that. I said this. Oh, yeah. Okay. My charm is -1. Perfect. Okay. That's what I wanted. I know how stupid I am. So here we go.
So
Totally, that's totally gonna help us. A -1 to charm. Oh, that's so great.
It doesn't.
So much fun.
As long as he
So-
doesn't get below a 6, he should be fine.
It's a 6.
Oh my gosh! What the?
Okay, I'm sorry.
hold up.
You say it like that, like 6. Like it sounds like you're saying is an real monster.
Because you put
All right.
emphasis on the syllable.
Okay, but this is a good thing because John, now because you were here last session, so anytime you fail at a roll, which is getting a result of 6 or less, on your sheet you do get to mark experience.
Oh.
So you get to check in one of those little boxes and you gain experience, but on a +6 with manipulate someone. So with the 6 or less, your approach is completely wrong. You offend or anger the target. So narrate to me what exactly is said and what goes down.
In trying to be cooler than I actually am, I probably take a bite of said donut burrito a little bit bigger than I wanted. So it probably doesn't come out as a, why were you in the woods? It comes out more like, "Ugh," and there's just crap coming out of my mouth. I might even choke a little, like, woods. Why? And there's nothing to drink, so I'm screwing myself. So I will excuse myself while I'm speaking.
Cameron's just going to be listening to this happen, and he's just going to be basically taking notes on what Talia has told him and everything that's going on so far. Without looking up, he's going to be like, so what did we learn from this experience?
And I'm going to try and look for a Mountain Dew in the game board store cooler.
Of course, there went.
Don't open.
I open it, which is a mistake.
You open it, just see Silky there, just with the little toothpick in its mouth, and you just hear the loudest as it burp.
Cameron is literally just watching this or listening to this go on, and Cameron's going to be like, why the fuck is he here again? Who brought him?
That was a perfect burp, Mikey. How'd you do
Well
that?
done, by the way.
It's sad to say I've had practice.
I'm going to look at the burping tiny creature, and I'm going to say, and then grab a drink of whatever's in there and just crack it open and drink it together.
Better yet, it just takes one of the Mountain Dews and just hands it to you, and then it closes the door itself.
There's the joke. That's the Beetlejuice moment you're looking for. That's perfect.
Cameron's just going to basically turn to Danny and be like, Danny, you still haven't answered my questions yet.
Which ones? About the ghost?
You didn't answer what the fuck. You didn't answer the other questions I asked you about any changes, or if there's anything of note that I should know about regarding your powers or anything else that you think I should know.
Oh, I communicated with a ghost for the first time. So that's cool.
I can kind of, that's
Yeah.
the obvious. I'm talking about anything else you can't explain, objects floating, weird shit you can't explain, objects moving in general.
Nope, I'm
Nothing?
still
Hearing
low on
things
that
you-
Harry Potter nonsense. I can't
Hearing
move stuff
things
with
that
my
aren't
mind.
there, hearing stuff that isn't there, seeing stuff that isn't there, feeling stuff that isn't there.
Can I?
See.
When he says that, can I move a book past him with magic?
Oh my
So
god! Are you really? Wait, are you using
Cameron-
magic to move a book?
I would say I have a smart ass comment for Max if he actually does that. I have the best smart ass comment, and it is going to be a direct comment to the
Well,
character.
since we're using magic, I guess roll magic. Gosh dang it!
Let's go.
I want to throw a knife at the
What'd you roll?
It's
Target
a
practice.
Oh
Okay.
god.
All right, here we
Can
go.
we say that he tried to do it and it
Roll.
ends up hitting Cameron or something?
Okay, so here's the thing. So anytime if I'm going to be completely honest, just as a full context in the terms of this game, probably the most dangerous move anyone could use in this game is use magic, because if you fail, I get to decide what happens. But here's what goes down. So, well, the good thing is, Max, you get to mark experience. So you get to check off one of the little experience boxes. But here's the thing. On 6 or less, you lose control of the magic. This never ends well. So here's what goes down.
I'm concerned already.
Beat the shit out of him with a book. It's fine.
Here's the
Hit
thing.
Cameron in the face.
Here's the thing. So, Max, as you try to move this book with your magic, you forget that there is a little bit of drawback to your magic prowess, and you lose a little bit of control. As you're saying the incantation to move this book, you say the wrong thing, which causes another spell to happen, so to speak. So instead of the
God.
book just moving, you see the whole shelf begin to vibrate and just move, and they all float out. The problem is that you set a couple of components wrong, so it wasn't the move object spell, it was the animate object spell. So now these books turn to the side, and like Mario 64 with the piano, they open their mouths like they have sharp teeth in it. Yeah, Pac-Man essentially. And these books start flying everywhere. Not so much that they're trying to take a bite out of you, but it's like annoying, like masses of birds that just dive. It's like, yeah.
As this happens, Cameron turns and immediately looks at Max and is like, "This is exactly why I like your brother more than you right now. This is exactly why."
I can make the book float.
But Max says he's gonna be like, "Yeah, but at least your brother can not do this shit and cause harm to other people in the process. This is why if we don't know what the fuck we're doing.
This is fine.
This is why if we don't know what the fuck we're doing, we don't do shit. This is why we don't do shit if we don't know what we're doing."
You guys are having this conversation as you're ducking and weaving between these books, and it takes a couple of minutes with all of you just like hiding behind chairs. Some of you are hiding behind the counter. At
Cameron's
this
gonna
point,
grab one and try and frisbee it back at Max to try and hit him in the face. As they hear, this is the repercussions of your fucking actions. Just like frisbee that shit at him.
okay, so you're attempting to.
Yeah.
So you're
I'm
attempting.
attempting to frisbee. I'm attempting to frisbee a book at Max because I'm angry at Max because he tried to do something cool, and now everybody else is suffering the consequences of his actions.
Okay, so then since you're trying to throw a book at Max, which is technically an attack, I'm gonna have you roll kick some ass. So you're gonna roll with your plus tough. So 2d6 and then whatever.
One.
So you're gonna roll 2d6 and add a +1, and we'll see what happens.
Before you say the result, can I add a thing to this really quick?
Sure,
Go
what do you
for
want to
it.
add?
Can I jinx?
Oh my god! Okay,
I would
so
like to jinx.
Just for a heads up, Cameron just rolled a 13.
okay. Oh,
I rolled 12 total, but I have a +1 to my top. So
all right.
I just
So,
rolled a fucking 13 to frisbee a fucking book at his face.
Danny, what does Jinx do again?
So, jinx, you can encourage coincidences to occur the way you want. When you jinx a target, roll plus weird. On a 10 plus, hold 2, and on a 7 to 9, hold 1. On a miss, the keeper holds 2 over you to be used in the same way. And I have a list of things that I can do. Do you want me to read all of them?
You know what? Yes, go ahead and roll to tell me.
Okay. So
What
I
are you
could.
going to do? I'm curious.
So I
now.
could interfere with a hunter, giving them -1 forward. I can help a hunter, giving them +1 forward by interfering with their enemy. I can interfere with what a monster, minion, or bystander is trying to do. I can inflict 1 harm on a target due to an accident. The target finds something you left for them, and the target loses something that you will soon find. So I'm going to jinx Cam and try and give them a -1 forward on this one.
Oh, dang.
It's still going to be a 12, I think.
I know this is an audio format, Mikey.
Uh-huh. Oh, no!
For
Snake
the
eyes.
listening audience.
Listening audience, that's some snake eyes. So that's fun.
So
So
I
you
get to
failed the
hold
jinx.
2.
You failed the jinx.
I did.
And I get to
Okay,
hold...
I-
and I get to
feel
hold
you.
2
I
over...
feel you.
So here's the thing. Does the book frisbee into his face? That's all I want to know.
Oh, it definitely does. And then when Danny tries to jinx it, it backfires. So
Yep.
the book will ricochet off of Max's face, and then it subsequently goes flying back over to Danny, and it just gut checks you at the same bit before starting to fly over. And as this chaos is happening, you just hear from what was supposed to be this lampshade, right? This lamp, you just hear an audible, "Oi, boy, here we not again." And at the top of his lungs, everyone, and Danny, you know this to be Arpeggio, just at the top of his lungs, just yells. He just yells, "Okay, I'm going to cheat a little bit." So he says something in a different language, but I'm going to be using Spanish because, I'm going to inject all that into my gains. So at the top of his lungs, you just hear this booming voice that just says "alto," and just, which equates to stop. And the books just stand in midair a little bit before all dropping to the floor. And Arpeggio just takes off the lampshade a little bit and just returns to his goopy form.
So, at hearing alto, Jack, still holding the Mountain Dew in his left hand, reaches behind his back and places his hand at his belt, but hand is on something, but not doing anything. Just hand is there behind his back, just there, and then takes a sip of the Mountain Dew, staring at whatever the hell just yelled alto under a lampshade.
Cameron's gonna immediately, after everything is done, just drops to the floor, turn to Max and say, "Never do that again. I know you're trying to be cool, but don't do it unless you know you're gonna fucking succeed. I'm not dealing with this again. Next time, I'm just gonna kick you in the face." Point blank.
Rather
Period.
abrasive today.
Oh my gosh. So at this point, Arpeggio takes off the lampshade and walks over to you, Danny. Kid, this is all fine and dandy and everything, but if I could not like clean up your guys' messes all the time, remember what happened last time? We don't need to talk about the Subway sandwich incident.
We don't need to bring up.
I'm sorry, what? I'm
No,
sorry,
wait,
what was
I have
that?
a question. Wait,
Absolutely
real
nothing.
quick. OC question. Would Cameron know about the Subway sandwich incident just out of curiosity?
Nope. The only people who know about the Subway sandwich incident is Danny and Arpeggio themselves.
Okay, I was curious because I feel like Danny may have shared a few things, and I didn't know if that was among the one things he did.
Nope. That
Can I-
shame
Okay.
shall go with me to my grave.
Can I roll to see if I see Arpeggio?
I don't think you'll miss a blobby ink monster. It'd be pretty hard to miss.
Yeah, but based on the description, it was you have to have some kind of supernatural experience or whatever. So this voice did come out of nowhere, so I feel like we heard the voice that stopped the books.
You also watched me animate a bunch of books.
So we're
Oh,
seeing
yeah.
a lot of weird and crazy shit. So I'm wondering if
Yeah, but
now,
at the same time, if I remember, actually, hang on.
if the veil is thin, do I see weird, creepy ink blot creature?
Remember, due to our relationship, you thought Cameron was dead because of a supernatural incident.
Sure.
Remember?
Yeah,
And
sure.
Cameron thought you were dead because of the same thing.
absolutely.
So you would have experience with supernatural, so you'd be able to see Arpeggio
That's up to Mikey.
because of that.
And if Mikey agrees, I won't roll for it.
So I'm actually going to leave this decision with Danny. So by all intents and purposes, Arpeggio you are the only person who can really see Arpeggio unless he wants to be seen. But even though I am playing Arpeggio, mechanically speaking, he is still tied to Danny. So given with the chaotic energy and Arpeggio stopping the books, Danny, I'm going to leave it up to you. Would this constitute where Arpeggio lifts that veil in order to control the chaos? And can the rest of the hunters now see him? It's up to you.
I'm going to go with a middle ground here. I think heard Arpeggio's magical command, and everyone can see Arpeggio, but nobody can hear Arpeggio except for Danny.
Ooh.
And I think that's where I think that's going to be the difference. You hear Danny talking to himself from your perspective. You don't hear Arpeggio's voice, but you do see a little inky blobby monster on the ground. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Cameron's
Okay,
just gonna
I
make,
like that.
Cameron's just gonna naturally make the assumption that he's seen him talking to something, and he's going to assume it's the inky blob monster. He's not going to question it. And during their discussions about Danny's powers, he's going to say, "Have you heard talking to things that aren't there or hearing things that aren't there? The inky blob monster does not fucking count." Like that pops up at least once or twice in their conversations. Inky blob man does not count.
Yeah. And so Arpeggio walks over to you, Danny. And again, everyone can see it, but Danny is the only person you can hear. Arpeggio goes to you, Danny. So maybe this wasn't necessarily the best idea, but you know what? This is the only one we got. So this is what I'll tell you, Danny. It seems, thanks to Minus, and looks over to the fridge. Kid, what did I tell you about the burrito? We talked about this. If you're gonna hide it, you gotta hide it better. You just don't stick it into the back of the freezer. But that's besides the point. I think, thanks to Talia, now it seems we have a general location. But also because I think this girl is hiding more than what she is, if I'm being completely honest. So I think also talking to her good old dad and her girlfriend might yield some results. Now, however, he looks around. Danny, the only reason I'm about to tell you this is because me and you are attached to the hip, but not by choice. It is what it is. Technically, this makes you the de facto leader. So you're going to need to put on your big boy pants, and you're going to need to explain to them what needs to happen. Since, you're I would do it, but they can't really hear me.
Oh, okay. I can do that. Danny's going to straighten up and look at everyone in the room and say, okay, everyone, first off, this is Arpeggio, and he's my friend. And some of you know about Arpeggio, and some of you don't, and that's okay. But Arpeggio here is going to help me help us sort this out for Talia, and gesture towards Talia. And now what we're going to do is, okay, we need to go and visit the place where what she saw in her final moments out in the woods. But we also need to go and talk with her father and probably her girlfriend and get that other angle. And that's going to be the best way we can do, or the best path forward, so we can get her to her next step of her afterlife. And I understand if you all don't want to help me with this, but this is something that I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it my way, with a shaky voice and fist at that one.
Voice crack happens. It's like, my way.
Oh no! But then we're going to get too into the Rick and Morty zone, and I can't go there with John again. I just can't.
Oh,
there you are.
Cameron's gonna look at Danny as he's giving this speech. He's gonna be like, okay, so what are we gonna do first? Also, we're not leaving till you eat.
There is
That wasn't a
something-
question, by the way.
There is something I wanted to try in the forest, but I had one other question for our ghostly friend before we go over there.
And Talia just perks up a little bit. Yes?
What can you tell me about when exactly your unfortunate accident occurred? How long ago was it?
Let's see. Well, I died a couple hours ago. A couple hours before that, I wandered into the diner, and Talia closed her eyes a little bit, and I was in the forest a couple of days ago. So, I'm thinking.
Cameron's gonna perk up at the mention of the forest. Is there a reason you were in the forest, or did you just go for a hike or something?
You know what? It was a couple of days ago. So, granted, it is currently a Friday. A couple of days ago would be for her Tuesday. It was a couple of days ago on Tuesday. I usually go out and run through the forest. It's the off season for cross country, and so I just run in order to keep the training up, even though the season is over.
To be clear, you were in the diner right before you were taken or something happened in the forest, right?
Oh, I was in the forest Tuesday, and then I was running from, I don't remember what. And then when I came to, the last thing I remember was walking into the diner a couple hours ago and seeing your friend Luther, which, by the way, Luther is just like chilling in the background. Yes, Mason.
Does the afflicted do we see, like, on the ghost, like, what she looked like before she died? Or do we see, like, her death, like she's all muddied and twiggy, and do we see the marks that were on her body when she died? Or is she like she was on Tuesday?
Ooh, okay, excellent. So we're going to add this little spicy little bit because that is very excellent.
The only thing that we've been told is that she's wearing a hospital gown. That's all we know.
Yes, and that was the conversation that Danny had. But as she's recalling the events of what happened in the forest, her appearance changes where she's dressed in kind of what she was wearing before while she was running. So light, like track jacket and like sweatpants and some running shoes and things like that. And as she's recalling this, you can see that her shoes are muddy. There's like twigs and leaves all in her hair. And you also see parts of her outfit like are ripped, torn, like they got caught on something. And like on the left side of her jacket, you seem to see just tear marks. But it doesn't look like it's anything monstrous or animalistic. It looks more so that somebody tried to grab and got a hold of it. And just typically how the force goes when someone grabs like a sleeve or something and you pull hard enough, like the stitching comes loose a little bit. So it seems that something grabbed her with enough force, but she fought back to the point where like it ripped a little bit.
Cameron's gonna be taking notes on this and gonna make a comment to Danny. I may need to borrow one of your mini notebooks you don't fucking use.
D&D notebook.
Just make the offhanded comment because he's basically as he's making these notes of not only what Danny's telling him, but what's happening to Talia and what other information I need. He's running out of space in his little teeny tiny steno pad and making the comment like, "I may need to steal one of your notebooks just for science purposes."
Excellent. Mason,
Do we see any identifying marks on her? Like anything, any bruises I could look at? Any marks? Is there like a branding or something that I could look at and go, hey, wait a minute?
okay. So, Mason, I would like you to roll investigate a mystery for me, please. So you're going to roll your 2d6 and you're going to add your plus sharp. He dropped his dice. Jumanji, as we call it.
I'm going to take that dropped roll because I rolled a 6 and then the one that rolled on the ground next to the printer was another 6. So I'll take that 14.
Dang. Alrighty. So obviously on a plus, so 10 plus, so 10 or more, you get to hold 2 questions. So these are the questions that you can ask. What happened here? What sort of creature is it? So that also pertains to any of the markings on her because I'm gonna bend it a little bit. What can it do? What can hurt it? Where did it go? What was it going to do? And what is being concealed here? So you get to ask 2 questions.
I really need you to start just sending me so that I can look at it visually because hearing it fucks me up sometimes.
In player handouts, the reference sheet is there, but Dakota will probably send you the link.
I'm gonna do one better. Let me fucking edit that so it doesn't look like shit.
Cool.
Nice.
So yeah, so you get 2 of those questions, Mason.
What sort of creature is it? And
So, creature.
what's being concealed here?
I love that question so much. All right, so we'll start. Ooh, okay. And I'm actually glad that you got succeeded because this is going to be fun to give it to you. So, what sort of creature is it? So, based on the descriptors that Talia has mentioned as she was recounting her run through the woods and just observing now her in her track uniform as she was thinking about this, Mason, given your expertise, like a bard master, like jack of all trades, master of none, as the expert, so to speak, it's like the equivalent of knowing way too much bard trivia. Like half the time, like these facts are useless in certain contexts, but when they matter the most, you just can recall anything that you have. And as you're taking a look at it, and you're looking at the tears on her jacket and everything, you notice that based on the rip, that it seems like whatever ripped this was more humanoid in form. So it seems that enough strength was given to the fact that whatever was pulling at Talia's jacket seems to have enough strength of anything humanoid. So it's not like super strong. It's not super monstrous, all that good stuff. Now, the more important thing, so what is being concealed here is the most important thing. Again, tapping into your expertise, you also notice the same kind of tattoo on Talia's wrist that Danny did during his talk with her. The only difference here, though, is Mason, you recognize this mark given your research into the occult. The 5-leaf clover with the red eye in the middle of it represents a cult that is known as Alt Ego. ALT-EGO. So I will message you more in detail, more about Alt Ego, but for the basic point of it, you know that it is a cult from history that has that symbol of the 5-leaf clover and the red eye in the middle of it. And I will give you more intricate details in a private message in your notebook of what that all contains.
I'm excited for that.
I'm telling you, man, the expert is so much fun. So yeah, that plus 14, man.
So, from what I can tell, there's no creature, but what I can tell from the mark that she has on her body, there's like a tattoo or a marking of a 5-leaf clover with a red eye in it. that marking is from a cult. That one's going to be fun to deal with. Didn't know they were in this area, but it's going to be fun to deal with.
I think what we need to do is we can either go together to the two places, or we can split the group. And what do you guys think? I'm out of my depth here.
I'm okay with going as a group if we want, and we can just.
I'm going to turn to the group, and I'm going to say, I know her dad. He don't like me.
Cool, you're coming with me. We're going to go see him.
Great. I guess we walk out. Are we walking out right then? Cool, you're coming with me.
Okay, so for the sake of my DM notes, so I don't forget this. So it seems that Jack and Mason are going to go talk to the good old preacher man, which leaves our brothers. What are you two going to do?
Do you want to go to the forest?
I think we should go to the forest, yeah. I think combine weirdness and go check out the weird forest.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
This is going to be a trip. All right, so for my notes, I'm going to put this down, that Jack and Mason are going to go talk to Father Forcinsa and the Calavera brothers. It's going to be so much fun to keep saying that. The Calavera brothers are going to, the Calavera brothers are going to go to the forest to see what they can find. This is going to be good. So at this, go ahead.
Can I do something as I walk? As I walk out, these Brothers Grimm. As I walk out with now no longer burrito donut. I'm going to walk by Talia as we're leaving, and I'm going to say, well, "You're not supposed to be out there."
Ooh. And so Talia kind of gives you, for the first time about this whole thing, she just gives a glare, but not one of "I'm going to haunt you for the rest of your life" kind of glare, but more so is like, what, like more afraid is, what do you know? Look,
I'll go talk to your dad.
And she just floats there quietly as she watches you and Mason walk towards the church, and the Calavera brothers head to the forest, as we officially are going to begin what exactly happened to Talia, and we'll see whether or not you guys are successful in putting her to rest. This is going to be fun.
Does that mean the doctor and Luther are going to go see the girlfriend?
I will ask them that at next session. If not, they can tag along with either team as well. So we can figure that all out. But with that being said, that's going to conclude tonight's session right here. It was a lot of chaos. It was crazy. I love the fact that Max's magic move failed. It was so much fun. That's the beautiful thing about this game, is even in failure, you guys still managed to do amazing.
Who owns this board game shop, by the way?
Danny.
Technically,
Danny's
does.
Board game shop? I missed it, but that's all I missed, I guess. I was like, I don't know who owns this place, but that's great, though. All right.
Alrighty. So one thing that we need to do before we sign off for the evening is, at the end of each session of Monster of the Week, there is a mechanic where, as a group, we answer 4 basic questions. And based on the number of answers of yes that we get for those questions determines how much experience everyone also gets. So this is one of my favorite parts, because it allows lore keeper and players to collaborate together and ask for experience. This also was very fun to hear players try to argue, technically we did this. Alrighty. So let us review the 4 questions and see what happens next. So question 1, did we conclude the current mystery?
No, but we got into more involved with it where we know more.
Okay, so that definitely helps. You guys did get more information, but the current mystery is still active, so that's unfortunately going to be a no. Question 2.
Do we get points for confirming there is a mystery?
So here's how it works. If out of these 4 questions, if we answer yes to 1 or 2, each person gets 1 experience point. If we answer yes for 3 or 4 of these, or all 4 questions, each hunter gets 2 experience points.
That's fine. You don't have to answer me every time. Sometimes I'm just being a jerk. Sorry, Mikey.
No, this is good for recording too, because we're in the beginning phases. It's important since most of you, minus a couple, like 2 of us, have never played Monster of the Week before. So I got to make sure. So no on the conclude the mystery. Question 2: did we save someone from certain death or worse?
No, that motherfucker's dead.
I think I agree with JC on this one because that burrito would definitely cause a fate worse than death.
Yeah,
How's the worm doing? How's the little dude doing after?
It took a supernatural being to do it. Like, we might not have been able to do it on our own.
Yes, that supernatural being was casted by our teammate.
Yeah,
I did say that the burrito was. Yeah, and I also will say that the burrito was also. I did mention the burrito was attached to the cooling mechanism, and it was just like not working, and it could have exploded the thing. So I will say that is a yes. We saved Danny from getting a stomachache and his shop being blown to smithereens by what was the cause? A burrito in the freezer.
Yep.
So that is a yes. Question 3: did we learn something new and important about the world?
Yes, absolutely
Yeah.
yes.
All kinds of shit.
We learned about the Arc Ego place, the Alt Ego. We learned about the cult in the area, and that sometimes he can use magic and sometimes he can't.
We learned that kids are still playing Foursquare outside like it's the 1950s.
Oh my god!
Excuse me, it was still magic.
Awesome. All right, so that's a yes for that one. And then last question: did we learn something new and important about one of the hunters?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
I failed too. It's okay.
All
This
right.
is going to be awful because I'm going to be using magic at every opportunity. This is
Yeah.
So
That's the
Max
point of the
has
spell
this issue
slinger.
where he's on the wild magic scale where it goes right. No, it doesn't.
Yeah. No, it's going to be great.
That's the fun thing about being the spell slinger is you have access to all the fun stuff, but it's really dependent on the dice whether they want to give you the fun stuff or I get to choose what happens with the fun stuff.
See, I got to talk to you about the fun stuff because if I have an artifact that is my thing, there's supposed to be some kind of quote unquote magic involved, right?
Technically, yes, but we can talk about it off camera.
What
But
goes wrong when magic thing does not work?
if it has magical properties, then I will have you use magic. But if it's, we can talk about it because I think what I'll say mechanically is if you use your runic gun, if you're just shooting to, depending on the situation, if you're looking to just put lead into something, it'll be kick some ass. But if you're looking for the bullet is infused where it's like an EMP round where it implodes magically, I'll have you use magic for the gun instead of kick some ass.
Fair. That's fair. That's fair.
So with answering 3 out of the 4 question, each hunter gets to mark 2 experience.
Yeah.
Wait, do we level up when we get the check mark, or do we have to get an XP after?
You have to get all 5 boxes checked and then you get a level up.
I wish I had failed one more roll.
Honestly, in Monster of the Week, it's really easy to level up, honestly.
Why would it have changed if you failed one more roll?
I'd level up.
Because, yeah, so once you check off all the boxes, you level up and then you erase the boxes and start all over again.
So all of us collectively only have 2 ticks.
No. Max is almost, because Max failed, he got to mark in experience, so he only needs 1 more in order to level up. And since Danny also failed, he's in the same situation.
Did I fail?
So when you fail something, you get 2 ticks of experience?
You get 1.
You only get 1.
I failed.
But the 2 ticks come from answering the 3 out of 4 questions in the end of session questions.
So they have a total of 4 ticks, though.
I failed 2 rolls.
Yeah.
Did I
failed
fail my
one.
donut? I failed donut burrito talking, right?
Yeah,
Like,
so you
I
also have
get-
experience.
It's
Yes.
a reward for failing, for
Yeah.
being fucking failures.
And thank goodness this was the lighthearted part, but now that we're in the investigation, failure could mean certain trouble for all the hunters, which is going to be a lot of fun.
This fucking use magic list makes me so happy.
Honest, the spell slinger is great. But that is going to conclude tonight's episode of Duskvale. When we come back next session, our team is going to be splitting up and trying to investigate and learn more about the circumstances behind Talia's death. What will her father, the preacher man, Father Forsytha, have to say? What awaits our Calaveras brothers in the forest? Will Jack ever get his phone back from Pete? in order to answer all those questions, you're going to have to stay tuned for another episode of Duskvale. Until then, from all of us here in Vibe Tribe Productions, remember, take care of each other, love one another, and as always, let the good times roll. Until next episode, we'll catch you later. Ta for now.
This has been a Vibe Tribe production. Remember, take care of each other, love one another, and as always, keep those good times rolling. We'll see you next time.